Oh, what's up, y'all? I'm watching this clip on Instagram of this kid getting crossed up. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh man, and then he get crossed up, he goes from the left and the right. Let's watch it again. Wow. Ah, this is funny. It's hilarious, bro. Crazy video, right? Yeah. But did you see Big Bird in the back playing 2 guitars? Yeah, he was right there. You didn't even see it. You know why you didn't see it? Because you were not paying attention. Happens to me all the time. Sometimes I cannot tell where my keys are at. Mama! Mama, where my keys at? Mama! Mama, where my keys at? You holding them in your hand. Oh. Also, I hate how into myself I am. You know, I live in my neighborhood and I'm never even thinking about the homeless people around me. I live in LA. Homeless people are everywhere and I just glide past them like I'm in my own iPhone commercial. And that's the point that we're talking about today, guys. All the stuff that we fail to notice. And I'm like the worst at this. One time when I was in 6th grade, I was like pretending to be a British clown in my social studies class, because you know, middle school. I was really loud while my teacher was teaching. Everybody else had stopped talking, she stopped talking, and everybody was turned at me, and I'm still doing the British clown voice. But I said, Mama, I want some more clown makeup. I don't know, it was awkward, it was weird, it was the mid-90s, who cares? Another time I was at homecoming and this girl started dancing on this guy, and all the other boys started taking pictures, and I didn't stop them. Then Monday morning comes along and all the pictures are posted on the lockers all around school. The guilt river ran heavy that day because I didn't do anything to stop them when I could have. What would happen if we like took our eyes off ourselves for just like a second to see that other people have needs? Because other people have needs like for real. Like for real. I bet you there's a guy in one of your classes that you think, wow, he's got everything together. Truth is, his life is falling apart. His parents are getting a divorce. It's a hot mess. Inside and out. Or maybe there's a super quiet girl that you see at lunch every day that sits alone and you think hates people, but truthfully, she actually would love it if you came up and said hi to her, because you know, she's lonely. Or maybe there's a group of kids that you know that are always like super positive and outgoing. It seems like they're always getting like super amazingly good grades. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that we have a geometry quiz today. Didn't you study over the weekend? I had so much fun studying for this algebra test as well. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But inside, they're actually anxious and terrified that somebody's gonna find out one day how anxious and scared and lonely they actually are. Real people, real problems. You and I fail to notice all the time. I like burgers. I live in LA, so I eat In-N-Out. A lot of y'all live in the Northeast, so you eat Shake Shack. Maybe you from Texas and you eat the trash known as Whataburger. Listen, you do you, I don't judge. Burger is a burger, that's it. Bun, patties, cheese, burger. But now, if one of those burger joints could cure cancer, well, that'd be a heck of a burger joint now, wouldn't it? I bring that up to say, listen, Jesus wasn't the only religious teacher of his day. There were lots of religious teachers. The difference is, he healed and cared about those in need and taught his disciples to do the same. To take care of the sick, the lonely, the oppressed. Give me that scripture though. Jesus feeds the 5,000. The apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. And he said to them, come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest for a while. For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure to even eat. And they went away in a boat to a desolate place by themselves. See, Jesus sent his disciples out on a short-term mission trip. They went out on foot and went wherever God told them to go and wherever they were accepted. When they got back, the disciples told Jesus everything that had happened and all that they had done. It was a busy and exhausting trip for all of them. Jesus meets the needs of his disciples and goes with them to get away. People find out. So in verse 33 and 34, now many saw them going and recognized them, and they ran there on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. So they're on their way to go get some rest, and Jesus meets the needs of the crowd that is following them. That's the example that we're meant to follow. In verse 35 through 37, and when it grew late, his disciples came to him and said, this is a desolate place, and the hour is now late. Send them away to go into the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat. But he answered them, you give them something to eat. And he said to them, shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give it to them to eat? Look, I don't know what the attitudes of the disciples were like in this passage. Maybe they were just exhausted and wanted the crowds of people to just go away. Who knows? I don't know. But maybe they were doing exactly what Jesus taught them to do. Notice needs. And they did. They noticed when the crowds were hungry. And Jesus just doesn't ask them to notice a need. He asked them to do something about it. And we need to be reminded of that constantly. Yo, it's easy to live a me first kind of life. Teacher, why you gotta be talking so much? I don't wanna be here with no algebra. What I need to know what 3x times y is. I'm tired, got a headache. Can I go home, please? Jesus never once lived a me first kind of life. He always lived an after you kind of life. The Apostle Paul, a dude that came onto the scene after Jesus rose from the dead, he also devoted his life to spreading the message of Jesus Christ. Paul had this to say about living an after you type of life. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Check it out. So that's pretty plain, okay? The Apostle Paul lays it out right there. You could be all about yourself, 100. You could care about nobody else, never caring past yourself. But guess what? Jesus is asking us to live so much greater than that. It's not just about stop being selfish, but how about we start thinking about, let's start being selfless. The camera on the front of my phone here is for FaceTime, for video conferencing. When it was first introduced as an invention, that's what it was made for. But soon after that, we as Americans discovered this thing called selfies. Turns out the front camera on your phone isn't made for selfies. It's made for us to connect to one another, not to take pictures of ourselves. But I'm not throwing shade on selfies. Like you like taking selfies, you do you. I'm not throwing shade on you. Oh my gosh, why are you so mean to people who like taking selfies? No, I'm not. That's not me. I'm just saying that's not what it was made for. 3 takeaways. Write this down. Easy ways that you can start to live selflessly and notice other people's needs. Number 1, look. Look up from your phone or whatever distracts you from noticing the needs of other people. When you're in a position to be around other people, whether that's physically or digitally, notice them. Affirm their existence. Notice them in the hallways. Notice them at lunch. Notice them on Instagram. Notice them and affirm them. That's one of the biggest needs that we have as human beings, that someone would just notice and validate our existence. Hey, you look really nice today. I really like your shoes. I really like your hair. And notice them as God has noticed them. Number 2, discover. Ask them questions and then really listen to the answer. Think about what life must be like to be them. Think about what needs they haven't expressed that they must be having. Number 3, do. Once you've truly seen someone and discovered their needs, then do something about them. That's what Jesus is calling us to do, to not just see needs, but do something about them. Listen guys, I'm hoping as you think about these things and go through these things, you start to look a little bit more like Jesus. His life was all about living a generous, compassionate, selfless, after you type of life. And if you're willing to live an after you type of life, not only are you gonna see the lives of people around you change, but your life will change as well.